Jose Mourinho, Will.
Yes.
The aura-filled Jose Mourinho.
Yeah.
Bursting with aura.
Yeah, the aura merchant.
Aura merchant himself, actually, Jose Mourinho. He has come out this week and, for one reason or another, had a go at Man City and Pep Guardiola and their spending. Mourinho, to be reminded, if anyone doesn't know, the manager of Roma, who played in Serie A and I believe the Europa League, so not even going to play City at all this year.
No, don't even come across them.
He's had, as the headline reads, a huge dig at Pep Guardiola and his spending at Manchester City.
I like the idea of like the editor being like, massive, no, huge.
Can you give a huge dig? A dig is kind of like a small thing by nature, you know. Like you can't have a huge. That's just a punch. He's punched Pep Guardiola in the ribs. Anyways,
Jose takes a massive slight.
Yeah, you know. But let's not get into the pulling hairs here on Clutch Points headlines. We'll just read what they have to say. He was having a go at their spending. And in particular, he used Calvin Phillips. So yeah, I'm not really sure why he's talking about this or was he asked about this. But the quote is, "Not that I'm jealous, but Manchester City, for example, paid 80 million for Phillips, and now in January, Pep says he will send him away and buy another." So I guess it's pretty funny for Mourinho, who former manager of Chelsea and Real Madrid. And Inter Milan, who I think bought a lot of players that time when they won the treble.
Man United, again, a
big spending club. To look at a team like Man City, now manager Roma, who you definitely are in the lower echelon, I guess, of spending clubs, and say, it's not fair. You know, this whole football business. Like, I don't know if he's like...
There's something rotten in the game.
Has anyone else realised that, like, the teams at the top, kind of with the money, they can buy more players and give them more wages? Like...
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
Melodrama upon melodrama!
This is a utter, shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense.
He was miles off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all
Plenty
the
of
time.
no problem.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to a No Nonsense podcast with Cathal and Will. We are here and we are back, and we're feeling Christmassy, Will, aren't we?
Yep, it's not squeaky bum season, it's silly season.
Silly season. That still gives me, I guess it gives me the ick, Will, when I see people posting that, you know, silly season. It's like, come on. Grow up. You're going out for a few pints like you do every weekend. Let's not call it anything else. We're back and we're feeling merry, clearly. We're having a good time. Yeah. Last couple episodes, kind of been all over the place. I, as you may not know, I'm currently traveling Mexico.
Yeah, not a joke.
No, hostel to hostel.
Not a bit. We have done elaborate bits in the past with robots or you pretending to be in places, not this time.
Yeah, and a bit where I pretend to have a job in Greece, but I actually was in Greece. So that was very confusing.
Yeah. Like, I know people probably thought, okay, now it's a bit. No, that happened.
That was, well, I know it was mariachi, but there was some kind of musical parade went by the hostel. And this is the thing, I'm going from hostel to hostel. I'm kind of all over the place a little bit. And Will is working away in an office. So you can't expect him to work in December. That's not fair.
No.
Come on.
I tell you. There's something in the water this year, though, because I saw a TikTok about it as well, where someone was like, just like seriously talking to their phone, was like, does anybody else notice that, like, for some reason this year people are still working in December? What the hell is going on? People are starting projects now and not coming back to them in January.
Let's put a pin on that till next year, maybe, you know?
Yeah. This is more a Q1 2025 job.
Yes.
2024 job.
So we're slipped into this kind of December knockoff mode, and we apologize for that. It's not good enough, and it's not appropriate, Will. Something that we struggle to do. Play the clip.
Hey there, this is Ryan.
This is Shiloh.
This is Brock from the Trying Hard to Be Appropriate podcast.
If you want to ask us a question,
Leave a comment or just tell us how awesome we are.
email us at...
Yeah, look, here at the No Nonsense Podcast, we do not stand on business. We try things that are new, and all the time we're pushing the envelope on new things. Anybody who heard that,
I need to make money out of this.
yeah, it is that clip from that show. We signed up to a sponsorship thing. I'm getting nervous even talking about it. We signed up to a sponsorship thing where other podcasts could, I think real podcasts, maybe fake podcasts, sign up to
judging by that last
advertise on our podcast. And just full transparency, we made 21 cents off that ad.
Yeah.
So it's a good deal.
Pure profit.
It's a good deal for everybody involved. They get to ruin our episode. I'm pretty sure they paid $50 that ad.
Oh, they paid a lot.
We made 21 cents off it, which I'm not sure what percentage of that is, but the aggregator gets all the money and we ruin an episode. So yeah, we hope to do that again, folks, but we're we're trying out new things.
Most of you probably didn't hear it because the way it works is, so they pay a certain amount and then they get, once 1,000 people have downloaded it across all of the podcasts, the ad gets taken down.
Yeah.
So whatever many our listeners heard, that chipped away at it. That was our 23 cents.
Yeah.
But for most people, they're like, what are you talking about? But everyone else will know that's what that really weird 30 seconds was a week ago.
Yeah. It was just a strange thing because we were waiting for it to go up. We didn't hear what it was going to sound like until it was put in. So, look, things like that might happen every now and again. But we're gonna get back on it for December. We're gonna do a lot more posting and a lot less cash grabbing. We hope.
Yeah.
So as a sign of that, folks, we're going to give out an early Christmas present to our most loyalist fans.
Yeah.
Anybody of you who are listening to this on Spotify, I'm sure you got your Spotify Wrapped, and there's a section there for podcasts. And apparently, still kind of weird to say, but there was 15 people in the world, Will, who had a No Nonsense podcast with Carl and Will as their number one podcast of the year. And for those 15 people, we are going to make you an honorary ultra for 3 months. No joining fee, no contract, nothing like that. Sign up to the Patreon. You'll get that totally free for 3 months on us as a reward for, I guess, supporting us. And it's not always financial support that you look for. I guess just people downloading us and commenting and stuff like that. It makes it a lot more fun to do, I guess.
Yeah.
When you're not talking to the void. So yeah, early Christmas presents and a thank you to the most loyal fans, 15 people. Again, Spotify Wrapped was a couple weeks ago. I think it's still there. You can have another check. All you have to do is just screenshot that you're number one listener. I hope no more than 15 come back, because then it's like, okay, who's photoshopping? We got to go, investigative photoshopping. But look, we'll do the honor system and hope that 15 people who are number one listeners come back. Like I say, you get Patreon for 3 months, and you will have access to all the bonus episodes, Champions League episodes,
the archive
of all the previous bonus episodes we did. We'll usually do international break, that kind of stuff.
I will say, if you're already an ultra on the Patreon and we're your top podcast on Spotify as well, hit us up and you won't be charged for the next.
Yeah, you'll also get the same deal. The 15 people get it for free.
Because I'd assume that makes sense that the people on that would probably there'd be a crossover, surely. Unless
they're listening on Apple or something.
Oh, that's true. Yeah. Unlucky if you are, unfortunately.
If there is an Apple Wrapped or a Castbox Wrapped, and you can show us that you're number one, send it on to us as well. We'd love to have more people on the Patreon, absolutely. So
send us your Poddozer Wrapped stats.
If you could show us that you're number one in some collection of data, we will reward you with the free Patreon, 100%.
Yeah,
just let us know. So look, onto our probably 6th new leaf of the year, I would say, Will.
Oh yeah, this has been a big year for new leaves.
Once every couple of months we say, you know what, we're getting down to business.
That's how it goes. It's like a roller coaster. You go up, and down, up.
Well, now this time it's for real. We're going to be
this one's real,
solid.
We're not a roller coaster anymore.
Yeah,
we're a chair lift.
Yes, just continually rising to the top, and you're all invited. So listen, we get on with the show. Yeah, big week of Premier League action, Will. The most anticipated game, I'd say, for the last few months anyways, Liverpool Man United.
How bad will it be this time? Everyone said.
That was it. It's anticipated as a embarrassing defeat to Man United, one that could end Ten Hag's Man United career. I think people were looking at really.
Yeah.
After the losses to Bournemouth and Bayern, it was like, and Liverpool final nail. Even if it was like 3-0, I think that might have done it. As it turned out, terrible, cagey affair.
Classic Liverpool Man United game. We really rolled back the years to when Jose was there.
Yeah. I guess, given the circumstances, it was a very good performance by Man United.
Yeah, they defended well.
Well, this is it. Like, that's all you can do when you're missing all those players, and you can't go. It'd be silly to go toe to toe with them. I know Liverpool were missing a couple as well, but I mean, I guess if you want to say for Ten Hag as a manager and able to adapt situations, like, well, that's all he could do, and he was able to do it with the players he had available. So
they were probably blessed that Bruno was suspended for this game for too many yellow cards.
Yeah,
not because because he's a terrible player.
He is. Well, he is. He's a crybaby.
But they're blessed because Ten Hag was forced to actually play 2 holding mids and kind of park the bus, which he never does in away games. And he famously had, I think he's won maybe one away game against the top 9 clubs in the Premier League, something like that.
Well, we were saying this before, that like the whole thing of that they will not concede in the Premier League typically. But Champions League, just like goal fest every time. And I guess we were talking about before, like being so online and thinking of what people say if we lose to Bournemouth versus what we say if we lose to Bayern Munich. It's like, well, probably not as bad losing to Bayern, but we're just before this we were talking about the psychology of the whole thing, and it is very interesting. I guess this week in the Premier League, anyways, because as we say, for Liverpool going into this game, this was the banker. This is the one that never fails. Man United in chaos. You're top of the league.
Yeah.
And it's like, okay, one in form, one in not. But I guess the added thing for Liverpool is this has dropped points at the top of the league. So now there's a pressure that last year when they won 7-0, they were outside bets for top 4. It was like, well, it'd be crazy if they beat Man United at home, Whereas this year, it's like, you're in form. You should beat them. And it kind of course for United, it's like, you're going to get beaten 10-0, 5 if you're lucky. It's like, you don't want that to happen. Whereas on paper, it's like team in form, at home, they're going to stomp it. But when it gets into the psychology of it, it's the results can be very interesting.
Yeah, and it was interesting because you would think that maybe like, and which is that really, like crossover onto the field.
Yeah.
Anyone who saw Van Dijk's interview after the game knows this is a man who was expecting a nice open Man United defence to just glide through and score 9 goals. But it didn't happen. He had this to say.
There was only one team, I think, that were trying to win the games. You were superior in all aspects, and from the very first beginning, and they were hoping on a couple of counter-attacks like to hurt us on the break. And yeah, in the end, they are buzzing with a point.
That to me as well, it sounds like someone who's like, we've dropped 2 points here and this is going to be huge.
Yes.
And I'm mad. And I'm mad at myself, mad at the team, but I can't really say that right here, So I'm going to say, well, one team wants to play football, It's you can see it. You can like that's like, okay, we're doing amateur psychology here, but like that's a huge 2 points drop for them against one of the teams who are not in form. Because like the next time you play Man United, they could be banging form.
Yeah, exactly.
So then it's like, okay, now it's a tough game away from home, whereas we could have got 2 points. And he knows that because it's happened so many times over his Liverpool career. So it's all these things built into it. Everyone says we take it one game at a time, but they never do. You're always thinking, no, that's huge. That's massive. That's a big one.
It was funny as well because obviously, everyone was talking about 7-0. Here we go, nice and easy, especially Liverpool fans, of course, because you're going into the game thinking, oh, here we go again. We beat them by 4+ goals in the last 3 games.
Yeah.
This shouldn't be any bother. And they're worse than ever. But 5 minutes into the game, it was like the atmosphere was just sucked out of the stadium. It was just dead silence because, we're not 1-0 up already.
Yeah.
And then as the game went on, it was just deathly quiet in Anfield, which is normally the opposite. But it was because these fans obviously are like, oh no.
Yeah,
this could be a draw. Oh, they're getting a few chances on the break.
yeah. The long went on, it was like, oh no, this is not going to play out like we thought it was going to play out. Like I remember it was like, I think it was 37 minutes. You're just coming up to halftime, and I was like, they thought they'd be 2-0 up by now, and it was very quiet. And it like as much as you think the professionals that they've been through before, that does seep into players and the fans. Like, oh yeah, could we concede here? Is there a chance that we go 1-0 down here when we're meant to win this 5-0? This isn't good. So
yeah, if you're a striker and you miss a shot and all you hear from the crowd is, oh, fuck, that's not good.
Yeah.
Whereas if like the crowd is up for it, like, come on, we'll go again.
Yeah.
You'll brush that off, we'll go again. But definitely it seeped onto the pitch. Liverpool were snatching at their chances. Like, I think United had the better chances of the game. They had much less, but I think they had the better one-on-ones.
That's it. I think there was a moment there where Alexander-Arnold was like trying to hype the crowd. It was like, you're hyping the crowd when it's Man United at home. Like,
what's going on?
That shouldn't be needed. You know, you shouldn't, as a player, you shouldn't be like, this place isn't raucous enough, you know, against Man United. I was like, oh no. It's crazy how it affects things, you know. You're better off going into like, no one's going to win this game. It's hard to tell. And then that's when you have your best performances. But I mean, draw for Liverpool, that puts them now third in the table. No, sorry, they're second. They're second, but they're on level points to Aston Villa, a head on goal difference, and they're a point behind Arsenal. I mean, look, you've been knocked off top now because of this. When you're meant to win it, it all adds to the pressure. I mean, the one thing on that game that we should talk about, because I mean, it's just I've never ever seen before, is the Dalot sending off.
Yeah, that was mad, especially in a vacuum. You can kind of say, well, like they are trying to stamp that out, but it happened earlier in the game, and it was one yellow for a bad tackle that Darwin did. Where he looked Evans in the eyes, and then he hit him as hard as he could in the chest, and then he kicked the ball away and argued with the ref, and that was a yellow.
That's three things. That's three things there.
3 things. Dalot did 2 things, and he got 2 yellows. It makes no sense.
Double Dissent that your man, was Mike Dean, who's now the
Michael Oliver.
Well, no, Mike Dean was the extra referee in commentary.
Oh yes, sorry.
And then Gary was like, "Well, what do you mean double Dissent?" I was like, "He did it twice." You know, it's
like as if when you get a yellow, you're going to instantly go, "Right, sorry, ref." That's not going to happen. You're just going to keep arguing. Of course, you're angry.
Well, maybe okay, if I'm being totally like referee FC here, right? That is, I guess, the whole point. If you're dissenting, I give you a yellow card, and you go, "Well, now I'm free to do whatever I want because I've already been booked."
But it's just human nature, because when you get a yellow for being angry, you're going to get more angry. Of course you are.
Yeah. But also it's kind of like, well,
what do you mean I'm wrong?
but this is the thing. Is like, the written idea of it is, I'm saying that's bullshit. Will, that's not fair at all. And you go, you better hang on here. And then I go, yellow card now because you're on that. You shouldn't be saying that to me. And you go, okay, right. That's a wake up call to me there now. I shouldn't be doing that, right? That again, that's not how it works. I'm aware that's not how it works.
Idea, though,
that's the idea. So if you then go, "How would you fuck off, you prick?" It's go, okay, well that's another yellow, you know. Like that is technically, yes, that's fair. I've never ever seen it. I've seen it where a player is being rash all game. He's put in tackles. He's on a yellow. Another tackle goes away, and the ref goes, "Okay, now hang on. That's another bad tackle." They go, "Would you stop? You know what football is?" They go, "Well, that's it now. You deserve this dissent."
Yeah, I've had enough.
You know, but never like dissent. Oh, double dissent. All right, that's 2 yellows. You're going off. You know,
twice. And like, especially whatever if it's like middle of the game, and this fella is just roaring of dog's abuse at you. You're like, right, that's it. That's 2 offences. You're off.
Yeah.
It was like the 93rd minute of Liverpool versus United. It was 0-0, and both teams were trying to score. You have to have some leniency there of like, the occasion's probably got the better of Dalot here. I don't think he's actually angry at me. And
again, I hate doing this like, you know, double-sided thing, but like that is literally the whole point of stamping out the abuse, because like, you are getting it is getting to you, and you shouldn't react this way. This is the whole point of like giving yellow cards for dissent, because you know, if you're a kid watching that on TV, it's like, well, like you can get mad and that's passion. You know, there's a famous clip of what's it called? Jim Redknapp and Richard Keys' partner in crime, Andy Gray arguing, I think, about a Mascherano sending off for dissent, and Jamie Redknapp, who's like, you know, ex-Liverpool, was like, but like he has kind of lost the plot a bit here. Like, you know, he is going a bit mad because he got a yellow card, he got sent off, and the same thing. He then was like, well, now I'm really going to hit the roof because I'm off, and you're going to get both barrels now. This is what I actually want to say to you.
But as soon as that happens, and Mascherano had been booked, he made another foul, and then he runs 20 yards past Alonso to go and get involved. I just think he should, I think he should have just stayed out of the way. There was no reason for him to get involved, and I think that you're running the risk, especially at the moment, because every Premier League player, the way that the game has gone this week without Ashley Cole's done, is risking getting booked and sent off.
Official the other night.
Let's sanitise the game then, Jamie. Let no one do anything about it. Let's take the passion out of it. Let's take the emotion out of it. That's not passion, though, Andy. That's emotion.
It's like this old school thing, like, look, referees are there to be abused, which is it is a bad thing. And I mean, it was this week, or was it last week that the Turkish league has been suspended?
Last week, yeah,
because
a ref got a haymaker.
The ref got a haymaker from the owner of the club.
Yeah, correct.
And then 2 more of his goons ran and kicked him in the head in the ground.
Yeah,
and you kind of say, well, that's different, but they are all related. Like, once referees are seen as like targets for abuse, you'll get the psychos who think, well, this is what abuse is. Like, no, that's not abuse. That's actually assault. But if they're thinking it's okay to abuse referees, their level of abuse is different from, say, someone like Diogo Dalot. So, I don't know. It was strange. I've never seen it before.
I think it was mostly that it happened earlier in the game and it was a different set of rules, which is like, that's always the problem with VAR and the refs at the moment.
Consistency.
Is different game to game.
Yeah.
It was like, if only one of them had happened and it was a sending off, you'd be like, that's like, I don't like it, but fair enough.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just because it's like, well, then what's if everyone's getting different rules because it's different times of the game, that makes no sense.
It's a problem, I think, in almost every sport that, like, it isn't black and white. And when you take it so seriously and it's so important to you, when a game gets reffed a different way or in a different way in the same game, it's like, well, that's not fair. It's like, we all should calm down a bit because it's just a sport. But when it's professional sports, like, this is people's livelihoods and careers. So it's always going to get that point of boiling point, I guess. So a very strange situation, I suppose.
There was another thing that happened in that game as well that I also don't think I've seen before.
Oh, yeah.
There was a ball. United were getting a lot of luck down Anthony's side. They kept countering down there in the second half.
Yeah.
Because Liverpool were purposely giving him loads of space because they're like, well, he can't use his right foot. So he had like acres of space to run into. And it reminded me of, do you know when you play rounders in school and someone shite goes up, you're like, move in. No. He can't kick it.
One of the worst feelings in your life.
I've never seen that before at like that level of football.
I remember, I think it was Sevilla in the Europa League final, and they loaded up down Moreno's side when he was left back for Liverpool. But I've never seen give him space, let him
to let him attack. He can't do anything.
Let him attack. Sometimes the odd time, if a goalie comes out too far with the ball, people are like, let him have it. He doesn't know what to do with it. He wants to pass. Just mark your man. It's like, oh shit. Now what do I do? And they just end up lumping it long. It was a very strange game. The whole surrounding things were strange.
Yeah.
As you said, that puts Liverpool down to second. Arsenal won, but now, unfortunately for them, they're top.
Yes. We've seen this before.
The worst possible thing for them is to stay top at Christmas.
Any of the top four, you do not want to be there at Christmas. You want to be third, I think, for the next while. You're still only 2 points off top.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just different when you're top.
If Arsenal are top at Christmas and go on to lose it, they'll join teams like Arsenal, who lost the league at Christmas.
And they know that.
That's a huge, that everyone knows that. Everyone in the fucking world knows that Arsenal at top of Christmas, put the money on whoever's next because they're not going to hold on. So I was actually thinking of this issue, Will, because, it's the anniversary of the Invincibles. The 20-year anniversary, 10-year anniversary, 20-year anniversary. And that's why apparently they have the gold strip on their jersey. Yeah. And they had a good season last year and they went all the way. I was like, please let them lose the first game. This is not something you want to be talking about. Whoa, the 20-year anniversary? Can they go invincible? Don't say that. Lose the first game by a lot if you need to, but get rid of this kind of talk. So yeah, they're top after their win against Brighton. Again, in that game, Zinchenko was trying to hype the crowd. I guess there was a kind of nervousness there as well that we're quite near the top here. We could actually go top here. Aston Villa also, they won their game. They went 1-0 down to Brentford, came back and won 2-1. And again,
they're still there.
For them, they're still there. They're chasing, they're fighting. No one expects them to win it. If they're top of the table, they go down 1-0 to Brentford away from home. It's different. It's totally different. We've
bottled this, lads.
Because everyone said, they're always going to fade away. Whereas now they're in third. It's on that same time as an Arsenal game, so it's not going to be televised. It's not going to be watched by anybody. It's a different set of parameters. When you're top of the league, and the game's not been televised, and you go down 1-0. It's like, oh shit, are we about to lose it here? With
Gary Neville starts oohing.
with 15 games to go, are we going to lose it from here? You know, are we going to do Leicester or are we going to do an Arsenal? You know, that's what people start saying. So it's like the whole week. And then, of course, City, they drew again. Another unexpected. They're 5 points off the league, Will, having only won one game in the last 6. Everyone dropping points. Like, Tottenham are now 1 point off City, and Tottenham are 7 points off Arsenal. No, not even 7 points. 6 points off Arsenal. It's like from 1 to 5. It's extremely tight. But the difference of the wins depends on like all these teams are a bit fragile. I think. I mean, bar Man City, who maybe are just unmotivated. I don't know. But I tell you what, if people keep saying that about Man City.
Oh, you gotta stop.
You gotta stop.
This is like the Chargers last year all over. You gotta stop. You gotta say, oh, they'll come back.
Yeah,
they're fine.
Keep hyping them up. Talk about their pedigree. You know, their winning mentality. They'll come back. Their points come back. Keep gassing them up for everybody. Okay, because if you keep saying they're finished like last year when Arsenal were going to walk the title, that game they played, they were so pumped playing Arsenal that game to send a message to people. You know, but everyone else, Tottenham, Aston Villa, Liverpool haven't won since 2020, not the year 1920. You know, they haven't won for a while. So all of them are a bit fragile, a bit like, oh, this would be huge if we won this. You know? Yeah. So it depends who's top, who's going to lose, I guess. I think whoever's top is going to lose these games. But
100%.
It's, I think it'll be a very interesting run in. If we're halfway through and there's 5 teams potentially who can win it, I think that spells a good second half of the season.
Yeah, it all depends what City do in January.
Yeah.
Because I did see on X that Fabrizio Romano was, sometimes he'll just like hype up rumors. It's not even news. It's just like, hey, I heard this. Apparently Man City want to buy Kimmich from Bayern and he's not happy there.
Yeah.
Which would like, well, it's not working out, lads. Let's just get an unbelievable player in to just turn this around instantly. No one else can buy him.
Yeah. No, that would be huge for them. I do think the biggest thing, when De Bruyne comes back, but they are struggling a bit. Do you think Man City are the type of team to rush De Bruyne back?
I don't know, because I don't think so, because they have the squad of everybody. They don't really need to. But
when they're not doing well, you know.
Now, maybe not because he's already had this injury twice. He probably already did come back too early the first time. So, I mean, if he gets that again, that's like, okay, is his career done now? Or what's the story there?
Yeah.
So, I don't know. Yeah, I think they'd play it safe here because it's better to have him for 5 months rather than 2 months, you know.
And I suppose because they've won so much already, they were thinking, okay, will we get 3 months out of this guy or 3 more years, you know?
Yeah.
But if he was to come back fit and be the same player he was, that could change.
If he can just pass it to Haaland again, like last season, that's all they need.
But I think if him come back is integral to their infamous run that we think they're going to go on. But yeah, I think they're the only team who are solid enough mentally to go on a run. Everyone else, it's just going to depend on the week, depend on what people are saying, which is going to be great.
Again, like 0-0 against United. Again, I know you've hammered them over the last few seasons, but you have it's still a pretty good result. Like anything can happen in that game, no matter what. Like it's United against Liverpool. It's a big rivalry. Fans are going to be fucking rocking and all this. But it's just the way Van Dijk did his interview. I thought, oh no, they're really under pressure. Yeah,
it's looking like it's going to be a great kind of run in for the second half of the season. Very competitive, which is really as a neutral all you kind of want. And on, I suppose, the psychology of football and the kind of siege mentality, or whatever you want to call it. Will Everton doomed 4 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, 10 points deducted. That's it. Wrap it up. You know, you're not coming back from this. They have now. How dare we underestimate Sean Dyche? He has.
That's why he's a no-nonsense Hall of Famer.
That is true. I mean, they're on 16 points, well clear of relegation. They've won their last 4 games against Chelsea, Newcastle, Burnley, and Nottingham Forest as well. They are 16 points, 7 points clear of Luton in the first relegation spot. You take away that 10-point deduction, Will. They're on 26 points. They're level points with Brighton, ahead of Chelsea.
Here's a stat for you, Kyle.
Go on.
Everton have not lost a game or conceded a goal since the day Henry Kissinger died. How about that for a stat?
Wow.
Yeah.
The circle of footballing life.
Yeah, he's up there smiling.
I think he's smiling up. Will,
He's around somewhere.
I wouldn't say he's definitely looking from a certain viewpoint, but he's.
watching.
I'd say he's being kept awake. Made watch. I would say
Things are going well for Everton, but don't take it from us. Take it from the Everton fans who were travelling home from the Burnley game today, who I think this is always something bizarre when like fans come up with like an elaborate song, like a new chant, because it is very funny to picture all of these like away day fans like hashing out lyrics together and what works and what doesn't. But Everton came up with an amazing one that sums up the last few weeks. Also, a word of warning, they do say particularly nasty word about Chelsea fans that you're not allowed to say anymore, but it's in the chant, you'll see.
And get on the wall. 10 points deduction. And get on the wall. Then Dwight McNeil. He only went and scored. It was a 7-point deduction. And get on the wall. 7-point deduction. And get on the wall. Then the Jonesy bastards. They left with fuck all. It was a 4-point deduction. And get on the wall. 4-point deduction. I get on the wall, then the Chelsea the boys, they couldn't kick a ball. It was a 1-point deduction. I get on the wall, a 1-point deduction. I get on the wall, then the Toffees went to Billy and Michael Keane scored. There was no point deduction. I get on the wall, no point deduction. It counted for fuck all, cause shots like Toffees, we're gonna win it all. Your point deduction, it counted for fuck all.
How good is that?
That is fantastic. I love that.
I think that's the best chant I've ever heard in my life. Again, you can't say that about Chelsea fans anymore, lads.
I don't know where that started, but it's an awful tag they have.
Don't say that. But what a song. Amazing. Sums it all up.
That is so good.
Who scored in the games. It has who they were playing. It has the points go. Oh, it's amazing.
Yeah, no, I love that. Fair play to those Evertonians. And whatever guy came up with that in his room and said, lads, hear me out.
Give me 1 minute, 40 seconds of your time, boys. I know we're having a good time in the bus. Just give me a second.
Yeah, no, I love that. Fair play to them. Again, I think it's funny when you look at that. That, I think, sums up the whole thing we're talking about. Like, yeah, if you say, without the 10-point deduction, you won 26 points. It's like, no, they wouldn't.
No. They'd be battling for relegation.
They'd probably be on 16 points. Is probably what they'd be like. Because it's like, we have been done here unfairly.
We'll show you.
Yeah. Look at Man City. They're up there. We're down here. That's not fair. And it was just...
I tell you as well, they were unlucky that Garnacho scored that bicycle kick in 2 minutes. If he didn't win that, they're winning that game as well.
Exactly. And I think most people who watched that game would said, we got beaten there, but we played a lot better than them.
Yeah.
So it's funny how these things work. I mean, a manager who loves siege mentality, a kind of a Jose Mourinho type, can only pray for a 10-point deduction if you're bottom of the table.
The best thing that could ever happen to Sean Dyche.
When you're bottom of the table, that's exactly what you need,
Yeah.
And again, they got 10-point deduction, but they weren't absolute bottom. So it's like, we're playing well enough to not be bottom with the 10-point deduction. What's your excuse, Sheffield? So it's amazing that they're now 16 points. I was thinking with this, Will, though, right? They get up to, 26 points, maybe 30 points. They're still motoring along, and it's going well. I was listening to this after the post match, where for Sean Dyche's post match after the game, and they're asking about the 10-point deduction and the form. I said, "Yeah, look, we just have to get over it. That was just sorry. Yeah, look, we just get over it. That's the reality for now." I was like, "Ooh, for now."
Ooh.
What does Sean Dyche do? They must be working on something, right? So picture this, right? You're on 30 points. It's like you're coming towards the end of the season. You're getting there, you're getting up there. And then it's reduced to 5 points.
Yeah.
Now you get 5 points. You're like, sure, we're basically safe now. All we need is 2 more wins. 15 games left, and they just lose every game because they're already on the beach. They've been transported onto the beach. It's totally flipped on them,
But remember last season in Serie A where Juventus were docked points, but then they got the points back. Or something like that. Remember Jose was Roma went ahead of Juventus because of the point deduction. Like, oh, good news for Roma. And Jose was like, we'll see where Juventus end up in the table. Because he knew, it's like, these things get appealed. This is going to go any kind of way.
Yeah, and that's the thing. So right now, I think, honestly, Everton should keep playing as well as they can until the points get reduced, because it changes the whole outlook then, you know? In this last few weeks, it just shows how even like the top professionals, the best players, some of the best players in the world, so subject to what's going on around the world. And they all say game by game, but it's all about the surrounding factors, you know?
Yeah. That's why all the interviews for football are so boring, because it's drilled into their heads. Do not say what you're thinking.
Yeah, do not react to what's going on. That's what they want.
Go back to the tactics, go back to the cliches. Do not say what's on you or the team's mind.
Yeah, and we've seen it loads of times. I mean, the most famous one is the Kevin Keegan one. You know, we're still fighting this title. It's like, that's where he blew us. Like, no. No, don't use that. So
his
like,
team saw it and they lost respect for him as a man. And that was it.
Like, probably genuine. I was like, oh God, I gotta watch that Kevin Keane too. I cringe every time. I know. Did you see that? Oh God, that's our manager. And again, for the Man United players looking at going, oh yeah, we have him rattled. That gives them confidence. Like, so that's why everything now is so boring and it's so.
There was a great example of that. Obviously, Van Dijk, the interview was right after the game, so the pundits were still there. And one of them was Roy Keane. And Roy Keane immediately, like you said, rebutted back with.
Obviously, we heard Van Dijk speaking there. Obviously, a lot of arrogance coming out of him, dishing United like that. He needs he needs a reminder himself. He's playing for a club who's won one title in 30 odd years.
That has nothing to do with it.
I will say that the year after Liverpool won the title, Keane was he was loving every minute of the title defense. He's like, for me, they've been poor champions, you know. And then like, I remember there's one where he's like, they keep playing like that. It's been on 30 years before they win the title. I was like, oh, this is unrelated. He loves that now. One. This is
somehow one in 30 years sounds worse than none.
Haven't won in 30 years. Yeah, same as every other club hasn't won in so many years, you know, but one in 30 years. Like, well, one in the last 5. It's like, yeah, and the 30 before that, pal. You know, it's like.
Because when you say one in 30, it makes it sound like it was 25 years ago.
It does. It does sound like just this far away thing, but it was one of their most recent ones. Yeah. It all adds into it. But like I say, hopefully they don't go into cliche mode and just like, this is the order for end this season. Hopefully it changes like 6 or 7 more times at the top. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Hopefully there's some kind of record broken, Will. That's what I'm looking for.
Yeah. Most clubs top in a season.
That should be good. That should be. Hey, who have you had? We've had Liverpool, City, Arsenal already.
Yeah.
Usually it's not more than 3, is it?
Let's look it up. This could be groundbreaking for the pod if we do numbers on X.
Tottenham were top 2, weren't they?
Yeah.
That's 4 already. But yeah, if you say that Aston Villa could conceivably be top at some point, and maybe Tottenham. And maybe Newcastle, I don't know more, but maybe Newcastle in January if they spend big.
If all of Man United's injuries come back, they could click again. Surely. What about us?
Don't write off Chelsea and Cole Palmer. He's on fire.
Everton are going well. Maybe they'll never lose again.
Maybe Everton get a bigger suspension and they go even harder. All this and more coming up on the pod this year. Elsewhere, I suppose, in the Premier League this week, not so great news. Captain of Luton, Tom Lockyer, he suffered a cardiac arrest against Bournemouth, and the game was abandoned. Strangely for me, Will, finding out this was his second cardiac arrest in the space of a year.
Yeah, the last one was in the Championship final, in the playoff final.
Yeah, I mean,
it's insane they got promoted.
It's insane that they got promoted, I suppose, but also insane that he's still playing. You know,
so soon after. Yeah,
I mean, obviously the example would be Christian Eriksen is back playing as well after he had a similar thing in the Euros for Denmark. But I can also think of Nadim Manua for Bolton. Yeah. That was kind of the end of his career. So I guess it's like on a case by case basis. I know Eriksen got a pacemaker fitted, and as a result of that, couldn't play in the Serie A because I think it was an insurance thing. They said, this is just, if it happens again, you know, we really wouldn't be covered for that, I guess. If, you know, because the Serie A is letting you pass, is allowing you to play, I suppose. Thoughts and prayers to him and his family. I'm sure it's very scary seeing him going on the pitch or getting the news. I mean, it's not good, but scary to see, I suppose, especially when it's happened so soon. You do kind of feel there's some kind of duty of care on someone here to. Because obviously the player's going to say he wants to play, you know, but someone has to say this isn't going to work out. Now, this is unknown. I haven't heard any of this, but it's just based on the 2 cardiac arrests he's had, both on the pitch. It's the main thing is I hope he's okay and I hope he makes a full recovery. Last week we were going to do a Champions League episode, but as we said, scheduling got in the way. But I did have another 11 Will prepared. Just as we're saying, it's the end of an era, the kind of Champions League as we know it era. So I did a team, Will, of a classic Champions League gripe, which was suspended for the final.
Yeah.
Now, during my research, Will, I think the current Champions League format started in 1994.
Okay.
Before that, it was 2 group phases, and then the winners of the group. I guess kind of what they're going back to now in a way.
Yeah.
Which they thought was bad and then changed it. They're going back to it again, you know. It's like fashion.
Actually, there was more games that way.
Yeah, it's all cycled. We'll go back to this format one day. When we're old and grey, we'll be back to our classic format. But yeah, I think I'm right in saying that. I'd be happy to be corrected. But it started in 1994, and immediately there's people who were robbed of Champions League finals. So look, I'll start it off, Will. But of course, as is one of my famous 11s, there's a huge asterisk.
That's my favourite. They're always the best ones. The ones that don't work.
Well, again, it's like it's teams or it's players who were suspended for the final, right? So before the final, they miss it. They don't get to play. They have to show up in suits and watch from the sidelines.
Yeah.
But in goal, we have Jens Lehmann, who started the final, but was sent off in the first half.
Oh, yeah, that counts.
Yeah, I mean, he was the only goalkeeper to ever be sent off in the final.
That's not good.
Yeah, Ronaldinho played a through ball. Lehmann came way too far out for a keeper as flat-footed as he was. Cleaned him out and got straight red. That was it, really. But it wasn't really. I mean, linking in, I suppose, with the psychology of football, Arsenal actually went ahead in that final, even though they were down to 10 men for most of the game.
Yeah.
And then Barcelona came back and they won it. So yeah, I guess I don't think people blame him, but I'm sure he regrets.
Doesn't help, yeah.
And it gets robbed of possibly winning. It was a good Arsenal side as well. That was kind of the tail end of that invisible side. This was like the kind of the crescendo of that team, I suppose. But yeah, it wasn't to be. And Ronaldinho got his full sweep of World Cup, Ballon d'Or, and Champions League.
That is so mental.
Not in the same year now, mind you, but I mean, it was in that mid 2000s where he was just undoubtedly the best player in the world. And, I remember the famous interview afterwards. Henry was snapping. He was like, "Yeah, well, I didn't see Edo today. I didn't see Ronaldinho." I was like, well, "Ronaldinho got your goalkeeper sent off, so I guess he, it's not about goals and
huge
assists.
Contribution to the game."
Yeah, not about goals and assists, Henry, but yeah. So that was him. Honorable mention in goal, Jose Pinto. Will do you remember that the Mourinho eye gouging game?
Yes,
that kind of brawl on the
classic,
sideline. Jose Pinto got sent off in that game. He was the sub goalkeeper for Barcelona. I didn't put him in because he wasn't going to play anyways. Yeah. But he's the only other keeper who I could find who missed the final due to suspension because he was involved in the sideline brawl. But anyway, I thought that was 2008. I think it was. I think that's the year they beat. No, that was 2008. I think it was 2009-10 maybe. Where they beat Man United in the final. But yeah, it was. Just a side note. In the back line, we're going with 4-3-3. So pretty good classic setup. Again, like I said, that as soon as it started, 1994, there was issues with it. And the legendary defender, Franco Baresi, he missed the final in 1994. He was suspended in the semi-final against Barcelona. Yellow carded in the semi-final. He tripped up Joran Djorkov, which led to a suspension for that game. I mean, back then, 2 yellow cards after the group stages. So you do the group stages, you come top, you have last 16, 2 legs, quarterfinal, 2 legs, semi-final, 2 legs. So 6 games, you pick 1 yellow card in those 5 games, and then 1 more yellow card in the semi-final, you're out for the final. It was extremely harsh.
That's ridiculous, yeah.
At the time, the defender was left heartbroken, and his coach, Fabio Capello, was downbeat.
Poor guy.
This is the first year that this is affecting the whole thing. Capello suggested that the rules should be changed as he had no solid figure to play left back.
Well, that's not a good enough reason to change the rules, to be fair.
Well, I guess he was like, this is bullshit. This is like, I don't have anyone else to play here now. Now they were the Invincibles in Italy. I think they must have gone Invincible in Serie A around that time anyways.
Yeah.
But they went on to play Johan Cruyff's dream team, Barcelona, and they won 4-0. even without Brady.
Not too much of a problem, Capello.
Yeah, and it certainly wasn't that much of a problem because in that same game, Alexandro Costacur, the other centre-back for AC Milan, got sent off as well. Now, it was a bit of a nightmare year for Alexander Costacur. He was suspended for the Champions League final in 1994, which, okay, fair enough. Like, they went on to win, but you're still kind of robbed of it. You know, it's like, it's a medal, but I would like to play in the final. In that same year, 1994 World Cup, Italy get the final. Guess what happens?
Oh, red card.
Suspended for the final, and they lose that final. So 2 finals should have been the best year of his life. It's like, I got 1 Champions League medal, which I probably don't even count because, you know, I didn't get to play. And then you go in the summer, you go, okay, well, I'll forget about that. You know, new competition.
On
new
to the
team.
next one.
Yeah, lose to Brazil in the final. You got a yellow card in the semis against Bulgaria. Again,
keep it together.
And it's the 2 yellow cards as a defender in the 90s. I mean, come on. So left back then, Will, we have at the full backs, we have a 2012 double. David Alaba burst on the scene, 19 years of age. He was unreal.
Is he around that
year.
long?
Yeah, he was 19 in 2012, and he was playing semi-final against Real Madrid. I think also a pretty prickly game, that game. He got sent off for, I think a yellow carded against Bayern Munich. Again, 2 yellows from the last 16 to the semi-final game. He missed the final. And then Ivanovic, he played Barcelona in the semi-final. He also got sent off, which birthed this amazing clip.
Branislav, can you clear one thing up for us? Were you booked after the penalty?
Yeah, I booked.
You know that means you're out of the final now?
Yeah, I don't know.
Yeah. Unfortunately, that means you don't play in the final.
Fortunately.
Yeah, pretty heartbreaking stuff. Be told by some smarmy journalists that you're going to miss the pinnacle of your career.
Prick.
Especially in your second language, you know well. Like he went into the dressing room and like turned to John Terry and said, "What do you mean by that?" No, John, what do you mean? You know, like you had to get clarification on it. Yeah, heartbreaking stuff for Ivanovic. Then we go on to the middle, Will, and this is probably a pretty solid midfield in any generation, I think. We have Paul Scholes.
Yep.
He got sent off for the 99 final against Juventus. He came on to sub in that game, Will. I guess probably his job was to maybe slow it down a bit, you know, try and stop Zidane and the boys because we're kind of running a bit ragged
Kick
here.
him.
Yeah, possibly. And Roy Keane, of course, famously had the game of his life in that game, despite being booked early on, knowing he was going to miss it. He scored the goal that got them through. They're probably the 2 most famous examples in this part of the world anyways.
Yeah.
Scholes and Keane missed in the 99 final. But in classic fashion, you know, the psychology of football being that we're down to our best players, let's go on and win the whole thing. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Which was the case.
Literally Roy Keane having the game of his life because he knew, well, if I can't play in the final, I'll give it all today.
Yeah, because you know, like you're not saving yourself. Like this is it. You know, this is the last thing we're going to play here. The person then who I think maybe changed the rule, Alonso, alongside them, the 2014 final. That again, Real Madrid would go on to win without one of the best players. He got sent off in the semi-final. And I think, look, you look at the other players, Baresi, Costacur, Ivanovic. Okay, David Alaba was young. Jens Lehmann, Scholes, Keane. It's like they're all, you know, quote unquote, that type of player. Whereas people probably see Alonso and go, well, that's not right now. He should be missing the final. You know, he's not that type of player, Will. So 20 years on from Baresi missing the final and Capello saying this isn't right, they went, okay, now it isn't right. When handsome Spanish midfielder misses the final. This isn't good. This is a bad look. So yeah, pretty solid defense and midfield there. I think it would beat most teams. Up front, on the left, we have Pavel Nedved, Will. Ballon d'Or winner, 2003. They also got the final. Juventus did, but he was unfortunately knocked out or made it uneligible for that final by picking up his second yellow in the semi-final. Juve and AC Milan would go on to play the worst Champions League final in history, apparently. 0-0 for 120 minutes. Missing a creative spark, apparently, is the overall consensus. We should
missing long-haired. There's a long-haired creative gap in the team.
Yeah, which people looked at Pavel Nedved and said, yeah, that was probably what he would have done there. He might be in the difference.
They just kept kicking it to nowhere.
Just pass it to the pocket. There was no one there. Yeah. So yeah, that's they went on to lose that game, and they missed Nedved a lot. They would never get back. Nedved would never win Champions League. So yeah, unlucky for him. On the other side, we have Dani Alves. Typically he was right back, but I'm going to play him as a winger because he started off as a winger and was pretty good going forward. He missed the 2009 final against Man United. He got sent off, or he got booked in the semi-final, and he missed that game. Again, Barcelona didn't need one of the best players to win because it's like, well, it's all against us. Let's retry. It was like, we got Dani Alves, we got Messi, it's all good. But when you're down players, it seems to really, inspire teams. And then up front, Ian Rice, not the Champions League final, but the Cup Winners' Cup final in 1994. He missed the final, which again, Arsenal were going to beat Parma in the final without their top scorer. And he would miss that final. So, pretty solid team.
Fairly good, yeah.
Tying in with what we said, pretty much everyone bar Nedved, David Laba, and Lehmann. So 3 players. All the rest of them, who were like integral parts of their respective teams, would go on to win. Because
2 of them were both from Man United. Man United lost both. Their entire midfield was gone.
Yeah, exactly. And they would, and like even missing those players, they would go on to win it.
Yeah, so don't worry when your player is gone. Basically, when you see your best player suspended for the final, you should be thinking, "Excellent, that's great news.
This is going to really G the boys up." They're going to love this.
This is exactly what we needed.
So yeah, look, that's just another fading memory of the Champions League as we know it will. I guess that memory faded 10 years ago, but
now if you get 5 yellow cards, you just have to hand the referee a big bag of money and they let you play.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure that's how it works now.
But that's part of the new group stage of the Champions League.
So yeah, I think I saw you notice it, Will, when I sat down. My Club America.
Oh yeah,
2022-2023 replica kit that I got in the market for about €15. I'm not sure how many pesos that
definitely
is,
legit.
Well, this is the thing. Usually I'm like, yeah, fake or not fake. If I can wear it, it's fake. Or if I can wear it, it's real, But this, I do not want to wash ever because I think that might be the end of it. But it does bring me on, Will, to my Mexican memento. Play the music.
First in a while.
Hey, is this the best of Mexico?
Mira el centro, clave, gol!
I love the Mexican people. They have tremendous spirit.
Scientists in Mexico pulling back the curtain on what they believe are aliens.
Yeah, returning segment, Mexican Memento. This one, as you might have guessed, is all about Club America, Will. This, I suppose, is an interesting enough story because they started in 1916. There were 2 college teams. It was getting big in the turn of the last century, I suppose. It was going quite popular, and these 2 college teams were playing mainly in school. I mean, only people who had free time, I guess, were playing this kind of stuff. And they came together and said, what if we joined forces and became like a really good team? Like, we're 2 decent teams, but what if we joined together and became a really good team?
What if we kicked out all the shite lads and combined the good lads?
That might have been part of the discussion, Will, I mean, college is very cliquey, we all know that, So that might be what happened. So they came together on the 12th of October, 1916. Do you know the relevance of that date, Will, outside of this?
1916, something to do with Ireland?
No, the October 12th.
No, what's October 12th?
Columbus Day.
Oh.
What did Columbus discover?
America, in brackets.
Well, I suppose he discovered a rock, later to be called America, about 200 years afterwards. But this was 200 years after that. So, for all intents and purposes, he discovered America. Let's call ourselves Club America. And that's why you see the C and the A, Will.
Yeah, I've seen their crest on FIFA before and thought, that is a nice crest.
Yeah. It's very obvious, as to what it is. There's a big picture of the Americas, and there's a C and there's an A. And it was made on Columbus Day. I was like, good as any,
That'll do. What if it was made on a different day?
God knows. I mean, Club America Eve, I don't know. If it was the day before, I'm not sure. But that's what they settled on. They briefly went to Club Union because they were a union of the 2 colleges.
Shite name.
And they changed it back. They went, Club America is better. So they changed it for a year. Yeah. Went, no, that was dumb. That was a bad idea.
Stupid idiot. Sorry I did that, lads.
But here's I suppose the bit that relates to us in a way, Will, and one of our short-lived bits on the show.
There are many.
Well, they tried to join the big leagues, of course, but they're the only club with Mexican players, because a lot of the clubs were started by expatriates or immigrants, as also known, coming over to Mexico. Like the clubs in the league were Necaxa, Atlanta, Real Club España, which is fairly, their crest is literally the Real Madrid crest. Germania, which is a big black eagle. Again, it's like that's the German guys who are in the thing. And then Asturias, Austrians, I guess. So like a lot of them were like people that come over who are now living in Mexico and said, what I like to do? The stuff we did at home. Let's start a football club,
More of that.
So these guys were Mexican students, like second generations, I guess, of Mexicans, and they were doing their own thing. We're going to have a Club America. We're like the American club, the Club of the Americas. And they're like, nah, maybe you can join our league. But first, you have to win 3 games to prove yourself.
No way. Yeah. A great movie.
So literally these like elitist clubs of foreigners said, well, you can maybe join our league in your country, but first you have 3 games to win.
That's so cool.
And much like a Disney movie, Will, they won the first 2 games and they drew third.
No, what does that mean?
I guess we didn't make it, guys. But the other clubs were so impressed by their gumption. They said, you know what? You're in. You're accepted.
You were always part of the league.
Yeah, it was always in your heart.
We just wanted you to believe it.
Yeah, yes. Yeah, and they have like a note dated from before the game said, look, it's your acceptance note. We just need you to know it. That's basically what happened, I'm pretty sure.
There's a good movie. We should write that.
Yeah, and that was in 1916, and then they went on to win their first league title in 1924, 1925, and not even 10 years later.
Love the idea of the big teams then being like, should not let them in. Should not have let them in when they drew the third game.
It's a nice little story. Nice little origin story, isn't it?
Yeah, that's great. That's unreal.
And yeah, I mean, as the years went on, by the 1928 Summer Olympics and the 1930 World Cup, Will, the national team mostly consisted of Club America players.
That's so sick.
They went from 1916 to 16 years later in the World Cup, having players in the world, playing for the national team,
that is amazing.
Yeah, amazing story.
I'm on the bandwagon, baby.
well, this is it, Will. And I mean, I'm going to Guadalajara soon enough, where I will tell you about their hated rivals, Deportivo Guadalajara.
I hate them.
Yeah. I'll tell you about the whole rivalry on the next episode of Mexican Memento.
Who owns Club America now? PSG? Man City?
Well, it's funny you say that, Will.
No.
They're owned by mass media company Televisa.
Oh, still Mexican, I think.
It is, but they're the biggest television company in South America, and everyone hates them because of that. So, humble
so
beginnings.
they have more money than everyone.
And again, humble beginnings. I mean, they were like rich students. Let's be honest. So, I mean, it's like
I'm off the bandwagon. I'm a Deportivo guy.
Well, once you hear more Deportivo, I'd say you definitely will be on their side. But we'll leave that till the next episode, the next installment of Mexican Memento.
Honestly, that is nonsense. Nonsense. All nonsense.
They say many, many garbage things.
You don't know what you're going to get.
This is a shameful, disgraceful piece of nonsense.
He was balls off it yesterday.
You'll learn a lot more if you listen rather than talk all the time.
Plenty of time, no problem.